Hello there. So I have noticed that a few of my students are having trouble understanding where to edit up the melody that I gave them. So what I did was I went back just from scratch. I do have my full file here, but I want to show you how I got to all the different sections here. So this is the melody that you were given in flat, which if you want to start from scratch because you feel like you can do a better job, that's okay. But export it from flat into Soundtrap. And we added it to our loop library. Hopefully it's still even there for you. The chorus of this song is only 8 measures in form, but it does repeat several times. If we went to the end of the first 8 measures of the song, you would notice in the original melody that I gave you before editing, it goes right into the verse, which is not the place that the verse belongs. So the first thing we need to do is split the region so that the verse is not there because it doesn't belong there. The verse does belong in measure 33, so you can move this region over to 33. Easy solution, okay? So now at 33, you've got the right thing. Perfection. And if we think about the form, this 8 measure chorus actually happens 2 times in a row. And the easy thing about MIDI is that we can just use the looping function and drag that with the looping arrow, top right hand side, so that it repeats just 1 time. Okay, in my form, following those 2 choruses should be the toy bell melody and sleigh bells. You may have to go back a few videos if you're unsure how to get those in the right place. Okay, we did just move our melody. Okay, I'm going to save here, just it's sort of habitual, but I like to save my work. And I guess what I'm about to say is that the next thing that you're given here is 16 measures of the melody. Okay, so you can go all the way to the end of measure 48, and you can slice off the end here by using that split region. Okay, so that's going to give you 16 measures or 2 8-measure sections of the verse, and then it's going to give you this little tail right here. All right, this tail is the part of the music that in our chart that we made is called the bells interlude / alternate verse / alternate chorus section. And so we can take this and we can move it all the way to the end of our song. Okay, this is going to go all the way into the last section here. And there is some awkwardness about this, but let me just start by saying we need to line this up more or less with measure 105. Okay, I'm going to just zoom in a little bit here. And if we sliced the melody in the right place before, if we put this region at 105, it puts the beginning or the first note that appears in this region on beat 4 of measure 105. And that actually needs to be beat 4 of measure 104 so that the second note of this region lines up with beat 1. There's a pickup note. Okay? And we can easily, we don't need this silence here. In fact, it's going to be in the way in a little bit. So you can see this little edit trim tab on the bottom left here, adjust start. And we're just going to drag this as close to that note region as we can without clipping it. If we do clip it, it's going to make the note go away. Okay? So we can start that right there. And now this is in the right place. Okay? So just show you this one more time. One easy way to do this is to assume that if you sliced it correctly, the beginning of it should move to measure 104. And you can look at measure 105 and make sure that the second pitch, the second MIDI note, is lined up with beat 1 of measure 105, and we can trim the edge of this over so that it's not in the way. That's going to be important in just a little bit. Okay, so this melody is in place for the end of the song. Now, in terms of arranging the MIDI elements for the end of the song, I'm going to go back here where we had sliced off. Okay, it was the end of measure 48. We had sliced off the part that we just finished editing. So what happens here is another iteration of a 16 measure chorus. So we can copy this region here, this first one, place your cursor at measure 49 and paste it. Easy peasy, there it is, okay? So there it is. I actually think I have a rhythmic error in there. I might have clicked and moved something, so forgive me. The next thing I have, which we've placed quite a long time ago, I hope, is the toy bell melody with sleigh bells underneath. And if we follow our form, by the time we get to measure 73, it's time for another verse. So I'm going to copy this verse and I'm going to paste it at 73. And then it's time for one more chorus, which belongs at measure 89. Now you're going to see over here that it accidentally edited off the pickup note to 105. And we can bring that back. That note is actually not gone. It's just been replaced by the tail end of this. So let's bring the end of this loop backwards just a little bit. And we can go to the beginning of this. Oh, I lied. That should never have happened. Okay, well, I'm going to undo that last paste. I guess learn from my mistakes, but that leaves that note there, and I'm going to move this region just a little bit out of the way. Okay, so let's see here. At the beginning of measure 89, we should be able to paste the 16 measures of the chorus. And before we move this region back, we're going to go over here to measure, really it's in measure 104. And you can see there's some silence at the end of this region, so we'll trim that loop back just a little bit. And now we can move our final section back and just make sure that that first note lines up with the beat 1 of 105. So that fixes our entire melody.